We understand that, oh, most people are celebrating, the Nigerians and the Burkina Faso people are celebrating the coup d'etat. But in Nigeria, we know what to suffer during the military era. So we don't still need. And again, ECOWAS, African Union is, I've not seen anything the African Union is saying. Instead, it's the ECOWAS that is louder in this matter. So, but the real fact in this, why I can still invite President Tinubu to face the dialogue angle, is about ego of the West. Russia versus the West. What they are doing, they want to make the battle, Africa the battleground.
I said something earlier on in my sermon. I said World War III is going to happen in Africa.
That's what we need
World
to.
War. If we are not careful,
why,
now
that
we
is
go host them like concerts.
Yes, that is why we need to avoid anything war right now, because we are divided. Even in Nigeria, we are already divided by languages. In Nigeria alone, we have hundreds of different languages. We are not united in Nigeria. Now, what the next thing, if we don't handle this thing well, Russia will start equipping the military in all the coup d'etat countries. America and the West will start equipping ECOWAS and the rest people, and it will cause a lot of damage in Africa. Now, if you understand the whole threat, America threatened Russia if they invade Ukraine. Why America not go fight the fight for Ukraine? Now Ukraine is fighting their battle on their own. So Africa should not make that same mistake by the West pushing us to fight ourselves. Because military and combat option is not the best. And right now, the battle of Africa is not just about the care about us. Both Russia and both Russia and both the West, they don't love us. That is the honest truth. Russia is trying, both Chinese, everybody, they are trying to get what they don't have. Our natural resources. Africa is blessed. Africa have the vital soul.
Now, let me take you up on that here. You can never compare Russia to the West, because the West have colonized us. They have robbed us. Russia has never done anything bad to Africa. Never.
No, but Russia has militias in Mali. Russia has machineries across Africa.
Can you compare what Russia is doing in Mali to what France did in Togo, in Benin, in Niger? You can't even, as in, it's incomparable.
My point.
Yes. Yes, hello? No. I will send it to you as text message. I will send text so you can see it. I will send text. Check your text. Sorry, continue what you are saying. Now, my
okay.
No vex.
Now, I'm not supporting both Russia and both the West. Let me explain why. If Russia loved Africa, when they tried to decentralize Libya, what did Russia do to save Gaddafi?
Now, you need to understand that Russia too will not put mouth directly inside Africa matter, because they know.
But they are putting mouth. Why are they putting mouth now when they didn't put mouth then?
America don't challenge them on top Ukraine. So this Africa matter is Russia too needs support in Ukraine. So if Africa give them support, Africa welcome them. Africa allows trade with them. Let me tell you, Russia is one of the #1 suppliers of grain in the world. Africa does not have food. We import gari in Nigeria.
because we are lazy to farm. We have
Baba,
the soil.
you are not going to change that laziness in 5 years.
Wait, we cannot kill ourselves because Russia wants to give us grain. Africa is blessed. We have uranium. We have every minerals to get whatever we want.
Somebody says Russia cannot love Africa more than Africans. It's a lie. Africa's #1 enemy is Africans. I don't know whether you agree with me, Soso. Africa's we they sell ourselves out.
Let me make one point to you. This thing that wants to happen in Africa now, that is creeping in, it has happened before, not one, not twice. If you remember, during the Soviet war, Russia did the same thing in Cuba. They had a secret nuclear plant facing America in Cuba. I forgot what they call that thing. I think I'll Google it. Now, they went to empower Fidel Castro and the rest people to fight America in the backyard. What I'm saying is, we will not look the face of Russia. Russia is a country that is dying because of the sanction. Yes, I will use that word, dying.
Yes.
Now, Russia need allies. Russia need allies because they are a dying country right now, because the world closed the door behind Russia. Russia has all their resources.
Russia needs us. The world has not closed the door on us, but the world treats us as slaves. So
yes, but Russia,
we sold to a higher bidder, in my opinion.
Yes, if you okay, I want to ask you a question. If you are supporting Russia, that means you feel the
Russia.
Okay, hold on.
No good.
Yeah, hold on. If you like the strategy of Russia, that means you like the fact that military coup can go ahead across Africa. Do you think military coup is the only solution for Africa to be healed? That's the question.
Now, let me be honest with you, Soso. Military coups are expensive, they are deadly, they can take us back. But sometimes when you see the state in which Africa is, you begin to worry, could there be a better option? I don't know. I don't want to put my hand inside this. I've been sending Bongolee requests. Make Bongolee to come talking on, because Bongolee can all these people well.
Let me explain what I'm saying. People do not understand when I say Russian is a dying country. The word SWIFT is not working in Russia.
Now,
MasterCard.
Let me ask you a question. Is democracy working in Africa?
Democracy is abused in Africa.
I sent you a request. Come and join.
Democracy is abused in Africa. But even in Russia, democracy is not working. Do you know that?
Yes, that's why I'm saying democracy is not a good form of government. In my humble opinion, it's one of the worst forms of government. I don't personally, I've never believed in democracy. Everybody has
democracy in Africa is not practiced. See now, if democracy is run properly, I don't see anything wrong from people choosing who is going to rule them. I don't see anything wrong. You understand? But because of corruption, okay, Bongolee.
Bongolee, can we see you? God bless you,
bro.
Bongolee. We want to also hear your own inputs on this particular matter. Big shout out to Phoenix. Phoenix sent me 3 money guns. Dart Phoenix on TikTok. God bless you. My #1 gifters right now. Phoenix is my #1 gifter. Follow my #1 gifter on TikTok. And Walexi is my #2 gifter. Follow my #1 and my #2 gifter. Double click that screen. Let more people see the video. Pop those money guns if you love Daddy Freeze. Yes, so.
Have you been to Daddy Freeze? Have you been to Russia before?
Never.
Okay. Let me explain Russia to you. I've been to Russia several times. Russia is a troubled country. It's so big where then I used to follow a footballer of my friend that were placed in Russia. There was a state we went to in Russia. From the airport were all militias, not military, not police. Even in the stadium, there were people with guns, openly AK-47 in Russia, and they are playing Russian league. Russia is so big where it's controlled by different types of. So now, this same Russia is America and the West, because of their invasion of Ukraine. They went to China, India, and all that to get support and all that. Russia is a big. The West have painted Russia bad also, but I still don't trust Russia, nor the West, nor anybody. They are trying to make this ground a war zone. Africa, war is a business. War benefits people. So the coup in Africa should be a dialogue settlement. If you want things to work, negotiate and all that. So, but going to war is a dangerous move, because the next thing you see, ECOMOG will be equipped by different countries. The coup, this will be equipped with Russia and will face different things. People will be stealing what they are stealing. So, Bongolee, over to you.
Now, Bongolee, big shout out to you. Before you start talking, let me hide my market. Market now we come here, concern inside all of that. Russia, Niger, Nigeria, me, I get market where I want to say hungry day this land. The war of hunger is already on in this part of the world. So we've got to be very careful. Double click my screen. If you're watching on TikTok, I'm looking for my #1 and my #2 gifter. Follow my #1 and my #2 gifter. I'm going to follow my #1 and my #2 gifter. Keflo, K-Flow. That's my #1 gifter now. Big shout out to you, Keyflow. Oh yeah. That's big shout out. Okay. So double click the screen, follow my #1 and my #2 gifter. So over to you, Bongolee. What is your take about this matter?
Yes, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, everyone. Soso, Daddy Freeze, I hail everybody.
Yeah.
Well, tomorrow I'll be speaking with some House of Rep members, and we're looking at how we can make possible people in diaspora to partake in the democratic process in Nigeria. That is maybe by voting or having like a legislative representation, form of legislative representation. So that's what I'll be doing tomorrow, speaking with some House of Rep members. So wish me the best tomorrow as I do that. Now to the issue at hand, I don't want to speak initially on the Russia and the West and all of those things, because remember, there are no permanent friends or enemies, only permanent interests.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, because the France that is on ECOWAS and Nigeria's side today was was on the side of Biafra in 1967. Because if Biafra had won that war, France will own almost 10% of the oil we have today. So I'm not paying, that's the crude oil. If they are, because even in Biafra, they were already speaking French at the time. So I don't really want to pay attention to that. I want to pay attention to how it affects Nigeria itself. Now, people have to understand that what is going on in Niger Republic affects us 100%. There's been a lot of issues, or there have been loads of issues going on in the Sahel region. A lot of us in Nigeria don't know how much Niger has been a buffer for us, protecting us. Niger has been protecting us from everything going on in Mali with the Tuaregs, everything going on in Burkina Faso, everything going on in Mauritania. Just like what Soso said, in those areas, in Algeria, in Niger, in Mali, in Sudan, in Burkina Faso, in all of these places, in the Sahel region, Sudan, South Sudan, you have the presence of all of these extremists, these terrorists. There are a lot of them in that area. And Niger has been a buffer. Now, Niger, secondly, also, we have the joint military task force. That is what is actually fighting against Boko and Co. Alongside Cameroon, Nigeria, Chad, and Niger. All of them have been doing the joint task force together to fight against insurgency. Thirdly, our electricity. If you go and look at the map of Nigeria today, you look at River Niger. River Niger actually flows through Niger Republic. A lot of people will say, why is it that Nigeria provides electricity for Niger and they don't provide electricity, they give Niger electricity? You need to understand that River Niger flows through there, and 80% of our electricity is from thermal energy, which means from heat energy, which is from gas-driven turbines, while about 20 is hydro. And you have the Kainji Dam on the River Niger side. And if they build a dam either in Guinea, because the source of River Niger is from Futajalon in Guinea, that mountain or something, Mount Futajalon. If they build that there, you won't have that water flowing there. It will affect farming.
Nigeria.
Yeah, it will affect farming and all that. Because if people want to understand what is going on with that, you can go and look at Egypt and Ethiopia. What is going on with Egypt and Ethiopia? Because you have the River Nile, you have the Blue Nile, and you have the White Nile. So there's issues going on there because Ethiopia has eventually built their own dam. So you stop the flow. So that's why Nigeria gives electricity to Niger. And now Nigeria has stopped giving electricity to Niger. Nigeria provides Niger 70% of their electricity. And Niger has been owing Nigeria a NEPA bill anyway. So with part of the sanctions and all of that. Now, thirdly, we also have to look at the Trans-Sahara Gas Project. This is where it affects a lot of us Nigerians that are screaming and shouting they should not go there, respectfully. The Trans-Sahara gas pipeline is supposed to flow from Nigeria and then it will get to Algeria. It flows through Niger and then it will now spread across to Morocco and Tunisia and all of these places and eventually enter Europe. Now, we are supposed to be making tens of billions of dollars in the sale of natural gas for our own development and benefit as a nation. So you have to factor that in. Also, we have the Maradi pipeline, the Maradi train that we are doing also. That is also for our own economic benefit. So, in actual sense, the president is actually looking out for we Nigerians. It is time to be selfish. Remember, it is time to be selfish. This has not, to me, I'm not looking at the unseen hand. I'm not looking at the unseen hands here. The unseen hands, the West, the Russia that we're talking about. How long has Vladimir Putin been in charge? Today is Prime Minister, tomorrow is President. Since I've grown up as a child, I've always known him as their leader. You understand? What benefits? Go and watch a video when the what's it called? The Burkina Faso, the Burkina Faso junta leader, a military junta leader, when he said, oh, come and build a nuclear power plant in Burkina Faso. What happened? You should see the way Putin shrugged his shoulder. Go and watch it. Body language doesn't lie. What did he give them? He gave them 10,000, 20,000 grains, metric ton of grains. Go and eat. Do you understand? Now, we need to understand how all of these things affect us in Nigeria. Nigeria, we're already bedeviled with a lot of, internal fights and all of that, insurgency and everything. Then you now want to now bring this particular angle into it. So I like the approach. The approach is a carrot and stick approach. Even though you speak aggressively, at the back, you are still doing mediation and negotiations and diplomacy. Because at the end of the day, you rather sweat more during diplomacy because so that you can bleed less during war. You rather sweat more during diplomacy so you bleed less during war. However, Nigeria as a country and as the head of ECOWAS has already said these are your sanctions, and if you don't go by it, there's a possibility that we can, and we can do military, there could be some military actions and all of that. So it is what it is. It is the name of the game. eventually. Nigeria is only looking out for its interests. And lastly, to those of us that are saying, or to some people that are saying they want military, blah, blah, blah. There was one influencer, TikTok influencer, a couple of days ago that is sentenced to 1 year imprisonment in, is it in Mali or something like that? Yes, TikTok influencer for talking against the military junta leader. So if you think that you'll be able to be typing what you are typing, be abusing anybody, you want freedom, don't worry, they are waiting for you. And then ask them also, all of these military, because Niger Republic has been in 4 coups in the last 13 years. 4 military coups, 4. Niger Republic is one of the poorest countries in the world. One of the poorest countries in the world. Now, I want people to go and do some research and look at Guinea, Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger Republic. Let them tell us how their HDI, Human Development Index, has gone up since they took power. Let them tell us how their economy has developed since they took power. Let them tell us all of these economic matrices, how it has improved since they took power. Because at the end of the day, people are screaming, shouting military. The military in Nigeria, that you dare not step on their toes, they will give you slap. The military in Nigeria, that they enter bus for free. The military in Nigeria, that if they do anything to you, they won't shake me, according to what they say in Yoruba. Then you now go and give them power. No, now.
You
If
know,
the
people
military
are not thinking. Some people are just not thinking. They are too shallow to put a complete string of thoughts together.
I need to address this. One of the poorest but very rich in natural resources. Guys, even if you have all of the natural resources in the world, you need money to develop it. Who will give you the money to develop it? Go and see what's happening in DR Congo now. No country in the world has the resources that DR Congo has. But DR Congo is one of the poorest countries in the world. We don't pray for military intervention. Never pray for military intervention. What did you say, sir?
War is business.
I was telling a family member the other day that, what do you think about, why do you think that we have all these arms and ammunition companies that are building guns, ammunitions, armories, and all of those things? People are working there now. It has to be used now. So
Can I add to you?
Yes, sir.
This was created by the West. What I want to say, Gaddafi won the world. He won Africa. That if they take him out, Africa will not be at peace. Which he was right. After he died, that's when terrorists started, weapons, big and large weapons started flocking into Nigeria and other places. That's when the whole Boko Haram thing started. That's when different militia started, because weapons were coming in from Libya. They had different factions at Benghazi. Even the US lost a lot of people because their embassy was even attacked. So they know all this. And why was Gaddafi attacked? Gaddafi was trying to unite Africa for us to use one currency and make Africa understand. Gaddafi was, Libya was a debt-free country. Libya had excess foreign reserve. So that is one mistake and one lesson Nigeria need to learn. Africa need to learn.
Let me add something. To what you're saying that I forgot to add. I wrote it down here. That the phrase, there is a new industrial revolution coming up. So let me explain the chronology here. In the 1800s and 1900s, that's in the 19th and 20th century, there was what was called the Fourth Industrial Revolution, or the European Revolution. That European Revolution that came up was a curse in disguise for we Africans, because the moment that the white man could build a steam turbine to move goods, and they started building a lot of manufacturing equipment, then they stopped. They didn't need slaves anymore. So what did they do? They stopped it and they started colonization, right? And by stopping, and then this palm oil that we see today, the palm oil that we are seeing today was initially used as a lubricant. Yes, the palm oil that we are using today was actually a lubricant to grease, to lubricate equipment.
Yeah.
That was why when the British came to attack the southeast, when they were conquering Nigeria, they attacked Arochukwu in modern day Abia State. And they went to attack their palm oil. Yeah, they went to attack their palm. No. Arochukwu in Abia. Arochukwu in Abia State. When they fought the southeast.
They attacked River State, Kinjaja of Opopo, Axis.
No, I'm not talking about that one. I mean, I'm talking that one. I'm talking of palm oil. That one is that Wahala.
Sorry to cut you, because then I'm from that region. Then we used to be very wealthy with our forefathers. Our great grandfathers used to be very wealthy by palm oil plantation. That was what we were exchanging with the British. Then when they came to
so that itself, that palm oil itself, people don't know today. The palm oil that we're eating today is the reason why part of the reason why they stopped slave trade. Now, this is where I'm going to now. You had that revolution and all of that, and that brought in the colonization that we are facing today. But now there's a new one coming up. Then we found crude oil, right? Now the new one are the rare earth metals, what is being used in the production of green energy. If you go and look at all the green energy that we have today, you need rare earth metals. When I mean rare earth metals, I'm talking of palladium, I'm talking of germanium, I'm talking of all of these things. In fact, you also need the likes of coltan, cobalt, lithium. Then you need to look at where do you have all of these sites. All of these sites across the world. China actually is already buying a lot of lithium sites.
Sorry to cut you short.
Around the world.
I don't know if you could see this.
I can see it very well.
From 1871 on, Jaja monopolized the palm oil trade in the region to become the most influential trader from the new position as king. Sorry.
King Jaja of Opobo, he was the one in charge of the interlands. So the British were trading with him, so they couldn't enter the interlands. And they took him out and sent him on exile. They sent him on exile, and he went to West Indies. And on his way back, swimming back, he died while swimming back. So the point I'm trying to make here is that there is a new demand. Now we are moving away. Now, these batteries, these EV, electronic vehicles and stuff, they are made with lithium batteries, lithium-ion batteries, and then you need the cobalt to maximize the charge. And these things are in Africa for the most part. And that is where this fourth or fifth industrial revolution is taking place, because people are going to move away from electricity. But when they are moving, not electricity, sorry, from what's it called? Fossil fuel. Fossil fuel, that's what I mean, sorry, I beg your pardon. From fossil fuel. People are moving away from they're going to move away from fossil fuel. They are already trading futures. They're already trading in one of these rare earth metals. Right now, lithium is sold in Chinese yuan. Right now, when you do the math with Chinese yuan, it's selling for about $40-something thousand US per ton. Now, cobalt, on the other hand, is selling for about $30-something thousand per ton. I monitor all of these. What's it called? These commodities, global commodities. Anyone will ask.
Do you know that there are lots of illegal mining in Nigeria right now by the Chinese?
Do you know something? Do you know that is a primary reason why we have banditry in Zamfara?
Okay.
That is the primary reason. That is the primary reason why we have banditry in Niger State.
You don't understand.
That's the primary
reason. You don't understand how. You don't understand how blessed Zamfara State is. You can literally pick gold on the floor. So we need
So
to
at the end
understand
of
that.
the point I'm trying to make here is that there's now a tussle for these rare earth metals, like DR Congo. DR Congo, you need to just watch video clips of how human beings are using their fingers to till the ground to pull this coal and this the Samsung phone you are using, or iPhone you are using, or this Tesla car you are driving, and all of these different things. So long it has to do with green energy, that's where the world is going to today. That's where the world is going to today. So in my opinion, my submission at the end of the day is that we don't want to go back to military rule, because in fact, the military rule is what has made us where we are today as a nation. The army that we have today used to be called the Royal Guard. They're the ones that turned to army in Nigeria. And what were they doing? They were protecting our colonizers then, and they metamorphosed. If you look at Nigeria today, I can do the math, for about 60-something years that we have been independent. In 1966, we had two coups. In 1979, we had another coup. That's the one of 1976. In 1976, the Murtala Mohammed coup. And we had a bunch of different coups. Babangida had
I
his
want
own.
to ask you a question, and I want you to answer direct. Are you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. What do you advise President Tinubu to do? That's what everybody wants to hear on this line. As the head of ECOWAS.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you have to decide, if you have the power to decide, what will you do?
Well, I would look at the advantages and disadvantages. I'll look at if I don't do anything, what does that even mean for me as a president? Because there is a wave in West Africa going on, and it's a very bad wave. It's a very, very bad wave going on in West Africa today. That people can just wake up and say, we just want to take over. That has to be nipped in the bud. Secondly, I look at financially, what is it going to do for my people? Because for all of the things that I said, talked about being selfish, protecting your interest. Already, we are at a grave disadvantage at this point if there is insecurity or instability in the Niger Republic as we speak. So those sanctions that ECOWAS gave, they are very tough sanctions. It's not the food supply is going to finish soon now. Most of the materials that they get through shipping comes from Lagos port now. They come from Lagos port. They come from Benin port. These are the big places that so we stopped all of that. We've cut 70% of their electricity. So those things are very, very stringent. And if they don't fold, there's always the option of military action. Remember, Nigeria went into Liberia or Sierra Leone when they had their military junta with ECOMOG.
No, Nigeria went there for
peace.
No, Nigeria went there for peacekeeping mission. Nigeria didn't go there to fight war.
No.
Yes.
Hold on. This can also be peacekeeping also. This is for peacekeeping. This is not war. This is peacekeeping. If they're going to go for anything, it's not war.
They never said peacekeeping. They said military invasion. An invasion is different.
They didn't use the word invasion. They didn't use invasion. They said military action.
Yeah, military action. Peacekeeping mission is different from military action.
No, but that's what I'm saying here. I remember it was military action that was said. There's going to be presence of military there. Now it depends. There's going to be action, of course, yes. Now, when you are coming into, it's like you're challenging the sovereignty of another country. So there's going to be military interaction, but that is the last resort. But then Nigeria is the elephant in the room here, and there are times we need to flex our muscles also as a country. We have to show strength.
Don't you think assigning
Now,
President
Bongolee, let's
Tinubu,
stay on the question. What would you advise our president to do right now?
to do, yes, not
Well,
direct.
right? Okay,
Yeah.
right now, we'll just play the waiting game right now. There are already sanctions already. But ready your troops in case there's a need for military action, which is what they are doing now. Like, those sanctions are very, very stringent. Like, you've cut 70% of their power. Do you know what that means? 70% of their power is gone, and all of their financial transactions. Those people are heavily dependent on Nigeria. Niger Republic is heavily dependent on Nigeria. Niger Republic is one of the poorest nations in the world. So it will not take too little to spark up something.
My opinion,
so it's just,
I may be wrong, but is this the time for us to flex muscle when we have not eaten?
that is freeze. If we don't do anything, remember, dialogue is still going on. Just yesterday, Abdusalami Abubakar, former
Head of state
military ruler, went there. What's he called? One of the biggest.
They didn't see them.
What's he called?
They didn't have the meeting. They refused to see them.
No, but that's what I'm saying. They say they cut ties and they don't want to see them. That's what I'm saying. But they went there. The Sultan of Sokoto went there. They are trying to dialogue with them, because even as war they go on, any war for this or way they go on, people they talk for back. Dialogue they go on. So at the end of the day, Nigeria is only protecting its interests. In this kind of situation going on, maybe Russia invaded Ukraine now.
Russia get money.
No, Daddy freeze.
Our must be like cockroach now.
Daddy freeze. Not necessarily, Daddy freeze. Nigeria knows more for life.
Let me tell you something. So then Tompolo they catch our Navy official where they steal our oil.
Daddy freeze. Let me say something. You see that one? That one is organized. Soso will know about this one even more, because now Soso area, that place big. That one is organized.
They protect the creek now.
I don't say that, but I don't say that in their side. See, Daddy freeze. That one is organized. It's an organized crime. It's an organized crime. Now we they do.
How?
Now we.
How?
If me and the people who supposed to protect the place, if all of us they run now, so what else? Have you seen the budget of the defense budget?
No, you are wrong. You are wrong. You're totally wrong.
How am I totally wrong?
On the organized crime that you're saying, no, it's not.
How? It's organized now.
How is it organized? Let me explain to you. In my
that's why I said now your area. That's why I said now your area. Now your area now.
That's why I am trying to correct you. In my community, if you on your tap to take water, oil comes out with it. That's how blessed we are. But now, most of these vessels that comes in, they are not small. They are big vessels, 50,000 metric ton vessels. These are 25,000 metric ton vessels. That if you fill up a vessel, those are millions, hundreds of millions of dollars. What? Now, the people that are supposed to take care of this thing, the military, why are they not seeing it? Why are they not seeing these vessels? Hold on, sorry. They have chopper patrol. They have radar. And you cannot take oil if you are outbound. Different places you can take oil. Outbound Warri, outbound Bonny, outbound Escravos and other places. Brother, these people are polluting the water when they come. And don't forget, they take oil from different terminals. Shell valves that Shell has abandoned. They connect pipes and fill up vessels. And you cannot fill up these vessels overnight. You take days to fill up these vessels. So contracting Tompolo for this job is the best option, because they are the ones that can confront anybody. They know the terrain more and they can do that. So you want to tell me, and it's not...
You see, you are already describing what I just said.
No,
Maybe
no,
it's the
you are
way I said it. That's why I say it's organized.
what you're saying is as if Tompolo is part of the whole stuff.
No, that's no.
Tompolo is the one
No, I
saying
never
it
said
right
that.
now.
No, what
I
I
remember I had a
said
live
is,
about this, and I advised you, I said, handing over the creeks to people like Tompolo will save us at least $20 billion a year by my estimate. I may be wrong.
My
I'm not an authority.
brother, if you see
I can do the math.
if you see
I can
pipes,
do the math right now.
if you see
I can do the math right
if
now
you
for
see
you.
pipes that these people connect, because when the more you come in, the easier to get the oil. But this guy, do you know what it means to construct pipe, heavy pipes, underwater pipes, from oil point, oil valves, from wells into the high sea? First of all, who construct those things? No be small work. Oh.
Now, why I thought,
Now,
see,
sorry, let
you
me
see,
hear
because
Bongolee.
Baba,
Bongolee
this is
said he
my
was going to
view.
give us the figures. If you're watching on TikTok, double click the screen. I'm looking for my number 1 and my number 2 gifter. Pop those money guns. So Bongolee, let me hear you. What are the calculations? Let's hear that.
Okay, so currently, Nigeria, according to OPEC, says that they give us an allocation of about 1.8 million barrels per day. Before Tompolo came on board, Nigeria was doing 800 to 900,000 barrels per day. Nigeria has the capability or capacity to do over 2 million, because during Jonathan's time and Baba's Onjo's time, we're doing about over 2 million
2 point something
barrels per day.
Yeah.
2 point something, 2.2, 2.4 million barrels per day. So, but right now, since Tompolo came on board, we have started doing 1.2. The last report that came out, we are doing 1.2 million barrels per day. So let's use the 1.8 that OPEC gave us to pump into the world market, for example. That's 600,000 barrels per day that we can actually be making. So we can say right now, a barrel of crude oil is about $85.
Hello.
If you say 85 multiplied by 6, that's 48, that's 51. So that's about 51. That is daily. I think that is about, is it $5.1 million? If my memory serves me correctly. Yeah, no, it's not $5.1 million. Yeah, 85, 600. Yeah, $5.1 million per day. And then when you multiply that to 365 days, is it 50, I think, is it 51 million or 5.1 million? I can't remember, but it goes into the tunes of billions of dollars. Then you remove cost of production, you remove all the different things. So, and how much will Nigeria actually be making and all of that stuff? It's to the tunes of billions of dollars. If I have a calculator now, I'll do that thing now. I have Excel in front of me, but I don't need to start doing that now.
Bongolee, I wanted to ask a question. This is off the point that we're
Sorry,
conversing
I
about.
want to answer somebody. Sorry, let me answer somebody. Okay, first of all, one thing you people forget: these military men, they have families. They are human beings also, because we already have that mentality that military intimidates. They are beasts. These military men, most of them cannot do what these local water people can do.
Before we go,
I wanted
to have a quick conversation with Bongolee.
I'm doing the math right now.
Before you do the math, this is another point. Sorry, Bongolee, you come back to the math. I want to ask you. A lot of people are spreading rumors that there was no subsidy in the first place. Bongolee, I wanted to ask you. Sorry. There's so many people online. People come online and become experts on politics and oil, and the latest one is people actually coming up to say there was no subsidy in the first place, that Nigeria cannot remove the subsidy because they were not paying subsidy. Please, how much do they land 1 liter of fuel in Nigeria?
Okay, so I'm glad this has come up. So I want everyone to get their pen and paper or whatever.
But they have answered my question. No.
He will answer it.
I'm still coming.
I just want to
I'm still coming. So let me explain how this thing works. So every Nigerian will have the template for how much crude oil and barrel of crude, a liter of PMS cost. So the price in the international market controls 63% of the price of crude oil in Nigeria. then 37% goes into all these transportation and logistics, excise duties, and all of that. So right now, let me give an example that it frees. I mean, right now, today, as we speak, a barrel of crude oil is $85, right? 1 barrel of crude oil is 42 gallons. 1 gallon is 3.785 liters. 3.785 liters. When you multiply 3.785 by 42, it will give you 158.97 or something like that. I can't remember from the top of my head. Then when you do the math and all of that, convert that into Naira, use 750 as of today, convert that. At the end of the day, when I did the math yesterday, it should be selling for 640 for Brent crude, 640 Naira to a liter. Now, you now tell me that they are not paying subsidy when the international price is already in that range. So when people give that argument of no subsidy, to me, I think is inaccurate. There was as always
inaccurate or outright benighted.
It doesn't make it, because if there's now international pricing. As of today, the international pricing of a gallon of PMS is $2.9.
So how was Jonathan doing it when Jonathan was trying to increase fuel from 65 naira to 87 naira that turned Nigeria upside down?
No, that's what Jonathan wanted to remove subsidy now. President Jonathan wanted to remove subsidy.
So why did he want to remove subsidy in that cheap rate?
No. Remember, the dollar was low now at that time. Dollar was 120 or 100 or something like that during Jonathan's time. 120, 150. So if you calculate that, and remember, the price of crude oil during Jonathan's time President Jonathan's time reached an all-time high of about $140 to a barrel at that time. So dollar was low, they were paying subsidy, life was good. But then Nigeria was borrowing money due to mismanagement of funds. And that's why the World Trade Organization Director General, that's Mrs. Okonjo-Iweala, was saying that Nigeria is borrowing money to pay salaries. Remember, during that time, she said Nigeria is borrowing money to pay salaries. Sanusi, the emir, too, was saying that we need to remove subsidy. So that was what was going on at the time. So if you wanted to remove subsidy, but people stood against it, like, okay, you cannot remove subsidy now, blah, 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 blah. But subsidy has always been something that has always been there. Subsidy is real.
I don't think people have been sincere with subsidy.
Subsidy is real.
No, I didn't say it's not real. I didn't say that. But they've not been sincere with that.
No, of course, you know why?
Let's go back to our topic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go back.
So my question was, what would you advise, or if you're in a position for this to advise President Tinubu to do?
What would you advise?
Should the military go in, or what's your advice? Me?
No, the military should.
Advice is,
if this is just me,
we cannot.
This is me speaking.
Yeah.
This is me speaking. I think that we can wait and see how this how the sanctions work out. And then we have to have a time limit, which they give. They said 7 days. Make the necessary changes. And if after 7 days that doesn't happen, then you can make it more stringent, like squeeze them, like keep on squeezing them till they fold. But it gets to a point you keep on squeezing.
Burkina Faso is promising to be an ally of the military junta in Niger. How do we deal with that? That their young military leader, Ibrahim Traoré,
Burkina Faso is dealing with something worse than Boko Haram in Nigeria. Burkina Faso is dealing with things worse than armed bandits in Nigeria. They have their own issues they are dealing with. And remember, these countries are poor, that freeze. We all can go and check their GDP per capita. Right now, you can go on the United Nations Development Program, UNDP, and look at their rankings on HDI. Niger is 189. The other countries, only God knows where, Burkina Faso and Mali, they are poor. So they are the ones that cannot really afford it. They are the ones that cannot really afford it.
Brother, I don't think it's about poverty, because
what do you mean?
They have sponsor now, which is Russia. All they need.
I'm glad you said it.
Hold on. All they need, they just need weapon drop. They just need armory. Do you think Nigeria, forget all this oppression where they oppress us for here? Do you think Nigerian army is well equipped? All those Buhari did a good job when it comes to equipment. Buhari bought military equipment. Buhari buy equipment for Nigerian army. If not that one, you did. Wait, I want to ask you one question. When Nigeria was on their knees during Jonathan's time, the whole world sanctioned Nigeria from buying weapons, even when Nigeria was rich enough to get weapons. That we are doing what they call human rights abuses. Now, if these things were not man-made, why didn't they sell weapons for us to fight terrorists?
Okay. I like
now, how come it is when Buhari got into power, they gave us weapons?
Now, you see now, I like what you just brought up now. That is where your international relations is very, very key. Your international politics and your lobbying to these powers that be is very, very key. I'll give you an example. In the last couple of years now in Nigeria, have we been having religious crisis? I'm asking you an honest question. In the last couple of years, have we had religious crisis?
We've always been having in the middle belt. They are killing people.
No, I mean religious. No, I mean major religious crisis, like how it used to be before we Muslim and Christian fight. We did do recently. We don't need to see for Nigeria.
No, that's civilization. Everybody don't wise. I won't give out to government.
You know the problem where they make. The points where they make here. The point I'm making here is, do you know that before Buhari left in the US, they said that they should not sell some weapons to Nigeria because of religious wahala. And then in my head, I'm like, which religious wahala are they Nigeria now? Nobody is fighting anybody.
Okay.
But that's what I'm saying. It is your international relations and how you lobby. Nigeria, during Jonathan's time, had a lot of, at the beginning, issues not there as much, but as the thing they end, now those Boko and all these people really start, they cause serious problem. We didn't have human rights issues, but they said it's human rights issues. So that's why in this abroad where we did all those lobbying is very, very
that's
important.
Why I said it's that's why I said it's man-made, because because Jonathan passed a law against homosexuals. America said this thing. Jonathan tried to get a backdoor to take plane to South Africa to buy South African weapons based on political affiliation. They now seized the money and they didn't give us weapons. Now there was something that happened. What Jonathan did that was very wise. Jonathan now paid South African contractors, independent contractors. They now came in. They now came in with modern technology, infrared jets that up in the sky, up to 24,000 feet up there, they can actually see every moving object through infrared. They started bombarding the whole Boko Haram camp. People don't know about this.
They did very well. They
were the one that flushed out Boko Haram.
Well. Yes.
Then there is one question I'm still asking. There is one question I'm still asking myself today. I will say it here today. When Buhari came in, Buhari now said all army checkpoint and police checkpoint should be suspended in Nigeria. Why was that? Are you aware about that?
Oh yeah, of course yes, of
But
course
why
yes.
was it?
Nigerians complained about it. Nigerians complained about
Yes.
it. Nigerians didn't want
Now,
it.
Jonathan did a good job. Contractors were bombarding up from up. They bombarded and cleared. The
Yes,
suicide
they
bombing
did well.
stopped. In the whole Sambisa stuff stopped. Then a new
Yes.
president came in and said, all the army should leave the road. Why was that?
Whoa. Well, I will say
You
new regime.
talk.
No,
Yeah, they here. DSS will come carry me.
I say no. You know, say our official spokesperson has said that when we are speaking, we should not be condescending. We should be very respectful. That is unacceptable. And that's why I've been really watching how I speak and what I say. I've been very, very diplomatic. They don't tell us, say, anybody where they talk about government, where they represent government or whatever, you should know how to talk. They don't already tell us. So what I'm trying to say here is that I think it has to do with government policy. The people coming in will say, oh, we are very competent. Why should we be paying these guys this amount of money? Why don't we pump this money into the army? Remember, that it was during Buhari's time that they released that $1 billion to go and buy Tucano jets. Tucano jet for years. Now, Buhari time, they go SS School account, reserve SS School, one of those accounts. They went to go and use $1 billion to go and buy Tucano jets. They increased the budget of the military to the point that our defense budget was about 10% of our total budget in Nigeria. So people were living very large at the end of the day. So I think it's government policy. People saying, oh, we can actually do the job. Why do you need mercenaries to come in? And remember, there was PDP going to APC. So that is the distortion. That's part of the distortion that has happened. And then when all of that happened, we saw how our security deteriorated in the beginning.
Yes,
it wasn't working in the beginning. It deteriorated in the beginning. It wasn't working.
There was no herdsmen. There was no what do you call these other people? What's it called them? Huh? IPOB. There was no, not IPOB.
No, those
ones the other people now.
Boko Haram.
Herdsmen and no, it was Boko Haram before.
Bandits.
There was no bandit that time. There was no herdsmen. All of a sudden, after they cleared Boko Haram, new issue can come out. After cancelling the contract of people that did a very good job. Don't forget, there was a complaint also about killing, and they politicized it, that those contract Jonathan was killing Muslims or something.
No, that on our politics now.
Yes.
Politics now.
Now, all of a sudden, the Boko Haram that we know that they finished now declared during Buhari's government that they are now ISIS.
ISWAP.
Yeah, ISIS, under ISIS of West Africa.
Yeah.
So I think the Nigerian problem is man-made. So what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yes,
absolutely.
Now we never fit solve all this our problem. When you cancel this one, these new people will come. Now after now, new Tinubu's government does come. Another new set of people will come again, say na them be Kakakuku or na them be Shogolege. You understand? So I think people up to today, nobody has served from being the head of Boko Haram or sponsor. They made noise that they have sponsor. Up to today, no elite went to jail. They brought some people in Dubai.
They are in jail in UAE. That's what I wanted to say. They are in jail.
Why we not see them? Why they not parade them? Why Nigerian network no go there? Who are they? Who are those people in Nigeria? Do you think to finance that kind of movement, do you think it's cheap?
No,
what I'm saying,
it's not.
What I'm saying is we need to be sincere with ourselves in Nigeria first before we're talking of military going to fight another country. You understand? Our economy will cripple. Everything will go. So I think President Tinubu should just even stop talking about this matter and they should diplomatically solve it.
I disagree.
All right, guys.
100%.
We've been on for quite a while. And
I
think
disagree.
I
That if
think
you shouldn't end it like this
I'm going to
now,
give
when I
each of
disagree.
you 2 minutes to round off. Before we
Okay.
do this, if you've been enjoying this, there are over 300 people watching on YouTube. Where are my super chat, super stickers? YouTube stingos. If you're watching on Facebook, super chats, my stars, and big shout out to someone who just sent some money guns. Big shout out to bytecard.co. Bytecard.co. Very special shout out to you. Thank you for popping that money gun. I'm looking for my number 1 and my number 2 gifter. Follow my number 1 and my number 2 gifter. So 2 more minutes to you, Bongolee. How are you? And you're being timed.
Okay.
What are your final 2 minutes?
Okay, I will say that I agree with what Soso was saying, not until the point that Soso said that we should not go and take military action there and stand back, and fix what we have internally. Most countries, like you said, most countries, like you said, in Russia, when you went to some certain places, there were armed militias. But Russia is still going out to go and fight Ukraine. So you have internal and external aggression. Nigeria has not had external aggression in a while. All we've had, for the most part, is internal aggression. This is something new in Nigeria. Nigeria is not known to fight against the border countries. Now, our president is the head of economic countries of West African states, or economic whatever West African states, ECOWAS. And in your region, remember, he just came in on board and was elected last month. So he has to come from a place of strength. And that is why they brought about all of those very stringent conditions, or what's it called, embargo and all of that. And they said if all of this doesn't work, or whatever the case may be, there is a likelihood for military action. I think that is the best that can be done. Because like I said at the beginning of the program, we have our interests. Nigerians are seeming to forget that we have selfish interest in this. This has nothing to do with the Western world. Western world are playing their own games. Nobody likes Africa better than Africa will like Africa. Everybody wants something from Africa. I am not looking at it from that angle. That's why if you notice in my conversation, I did not call Western world. I did not talk about France Kinikon. I did not talk about Russia interfering. No, I'm looking out for Nigeria as a nation. River Niger flows through them. Niger can come tomorrow and say, okay, we want to build dam. A lot of agriculture will go in Nigeria. So forget all those Kogi, forget all those Niger State, forget Kebbi. And that is where Kebbi, for example, that's where we are getting a lot of our rice. The rice that we have today is from Kebbi, for the most part. You will lose all that source if they say they want to build dam. That's why we sell electricity to them. We have the train from Kano to Maradi. That is for commerce, because we complain that Africa, if Nigeria wants to trade with Benin, maybe you have to go through road or you have to go through water. But now, if you have a train, it will make trade easier and more accessible. Then also the Trans-Sahara gas pipeline, that is the main issue here. Aside the security issues going on with our joint task force with Cameroon, with Chad, Niger, and ourselves to fight insurgents. And also, Niger is a buffer protecting us from the Sahel people. Those, like you said, those bad guys from Libya, all those things where they happen. Now, if you go and look at Nigeria's map, now Niger, they protect us. So we don't get the direct heat. So if something is going on in Niger, it affects us. So we have to protect our own interests first before any country. And if it has to be, we have to take military action. If all of the things on the table doesn't work, if all of our negotiations doesn't work, then I support it. I support it. Honestly, that I said, if all of these things don't work. Okay, now now let me now ask you, so I'll push it to you. If all of these embargoes that they are, because this is the first time I'm going to ask you a question. If all of these embargoes don't work, if all of these dialogues or diplomacy don't work, what should Nigeria do? Should they just fold their arms.
All right. Thank you so much.
He's asking me a question. He's asking me a question.
It's your turn.
I'm asking you a question. I'm done.
As we're rounding
I'm done. I'm not.
Okay, let me answer your question first.
2 minutes.
Let me answer the question first. If all of these do not work, all I'm going to do, I'm going to protect our borders. Our borders, Nigerian border with Niger will be protected with full force. 1. 2, we'll make sure we have protection over military coup in Nigeria, because Africa is a copycat country. What President Tinubu should do right now, I know many Nigerians want military to take over, but it's not the solution, which I don't support. You understand? We will go backward. You get
only a very dense person wants military to take over.
No, many Nigerians want military to take over.
They
feel,
especially
the new generation, especially the new generation that don't understand military. You get? Now, coming to my own point, I will not go into military battle with any country. Nigeria cannot survive or take any more problem right now. We need to work on our economy, negotiate, get more help, and reform all the reform policy for Nigeria, because people they hungry. People they hungry. Fuel is too expensive. You understand? So war is not the way. In any way, even though now hunters with the same go Niger, we don't need that. Nigeria does not need distraction now. President Tinubu does not need distraction right now. He needs to focus, put his eye on the goal. If the pressure is too much on him, he should resign from the ECOWAS chairman and give it to somebody else. Make that person go do war. If you want to go do war, nobody in Nigeria go fight war. That one, my own is he should face Nigeria with his policies that he's trying to help the economy and revive the damage Buhari did to Nigeria. Now, that one is done for my own advice for him. Then Africa should not fall victim for Western ego. Russia and America and the rest world, they are playing ego game and they want to make Africa a battlefield. We don't need it.
I agree.
We don't need it. We are brothers in Africa. We need to be together, not to fight ourselves. That's why I will never encourage military invasion in any way. So politicians are also, yes. Look at Syria. They've not recovered to date. They have refugees all over the world. Look at Yemen. They have refugees all over the world. We don't need them. We never chop normal when war no day. Now when war day,
we want chop.
Now want to.
Like I said, let me round off because I'm exhausted. I've had so much to do this particular period. And I'm going to say this, although I value Bongolee's intellect, his statistic at his fingertips, his understanding of government and government policies, I lean more towards Soso. And here's why. We are not ready for a war. I said it. We are fighting wars right now. Subsidy war, hunger war, unemployment war, minimum wage war. These are full-blown
construction
wars.
War. They cannot do normal roads.
War. You understand? So, yes, we should embrace dialogue. We should embrace sanctions right now. But if the sanctions fail, what do we do? I do not agree. We are bigger than they are, just the way Russia was bigger than Ukraine. You see the result. We are bigger than Niger. But you see, you can't win when you fight someone who has nothing to lose.
Our borders are porous.
You can't even win. Imagine as you did like this, you get nothing to lose. If you lose, you still never lose because you have nothing to lose. If you win, you still no lose. So you can't fight against these people. Have nothing to lose. They go against us. We have so much to lose. Now, I also want to talk about the military rule. All those of you, because it's like you don't have sense. Small thing happening in other countries, you think it will happen in your country. Let me tell you, maybe you are happy now, you are typing on TikTok and Instagram. That's the first thing that they will take away from you. You will lose your rights. Fine.
First of all, if anyone come, if you have 20 billion in your account, automatically your money has turned to paper.
Paper.
Your money is useless.
Your house is useless. Your property, your landed property is the first thing that becomes useless. If people run rich then, and then go sleep for your house. So let us be careful. Let us be careful on what we wish for, because sometimes your wishes can actually come true. And 6 months of war, people will start to cry. You will prefer the worst leader Nigeria has ever had to war. Trust me. So, and then there's also this notion that we have so many resources. If you don't have somebody buying your resources are useless. You cannot fry lizard with your crude oil. You can't even refine it. So what's the use of
small SARS crisis? ATM money finish for ATM. Bank network let it go.
You don't
understand. Small SARS. Hungry won't kill people. Small SARS for Lagos.
Whatever we do, we should avoid war totally. Soso, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for your time. Bongolee, I called you on short notice. Thank you for showing up. I appreciate the conversation. Thank you guys so much. For those of you who bought my super chats on YouTube, which is zero of you, and for those of you who bought my stars, only one person bought my stars on Facebook, Elish Joya. I appreciate you. On TikTok, as usual, people came through, and I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you so much. We're going to come back tomorrow, and we're going to have a lot of gisting and having fun and keeping it real. But today we had to go on an important topic. I hope you learned something. If you did, give a shout out to these two gentlemen, Soso Soberekon and official DJ Bongolee. Thank you guys so much, and God bless you.